It's a perfect situation.
Hello, this is Liz. Welcome to my little urban homestead. I've been harvesting this morning and I'll show you 2 photos now of all the things that I have been harvesting. Yes, I only went out to get some mulberries from my tree and I just carried on harvesting. So I need to preserve or use a lot of it. The apples, I won't do anything with them for a few days. Those are from one of my trees that produce sweeter apples, so they'll make nice dehydrated apples. The rhubarb can wait a day if necessary, a day or two, but the first things I'm going to do is dehydrate herbs, and I've shown you how I've done that before in the past, but I'll show you again. This is like my conveyor belt system. I have a bowl in my sink with water, cold water and a dash of vinegar, and they sit and soak in there for about 10 minutes, and I sort through and put in one of the bowls the bits that I don't want, and they will be going to the chickens. There's not much sage because I've got an idea about my sage. I think the plant is on its last legs, so I'll go through that with you in a bit. But once they come out of the sink, they go into my salad spinner, where I can spin the last of the water off them. We move over here. Move over here, and then I put them on my dehydrated trays. I have got 1.5 trays of curly parsley. What's soaking now is flat leaf parsley, and when they're ready they will go in. When they're full, they'll go in the dehydrator. So this one's full, so I'll put it in now. As I told you, I think my sage plant is giving up, so I'm going to make new plants for next year. So I pulled some of the leaves off and they will be dried, but I've got 3 that I'm going to try and start new plants from. If I don't, nothing lost. I shall just buy a new sage plant next year. What I'm doing is I'm cutting these at a slight angle. I pull the bottom leaves off. Actually, I can have another one now. And another one. They're there so they can go through my dehydrator. I've got a little bit of tin foil. Put around a jar that's full of water, and then just poke little holes in it. This is to help it stand up, that's all. This is what I do with basil, and just slide your sage, basil, whatever herb cutting you're making. Well, I'll have that leaf as well. And put them in water. I'm not really losing anything if they don't do it, but as I say, I do this with basil and it works out. I'll show you some basil I've got on the go. This is 3 lots of basil, and they've been in my windowsill. They've all got roots on them. That one's a bit trimmed down because I've been using it, but let me just see if I can get it off. And can you see the roots? They're on there. And this was just basil I brought from the supermarket. So I think I should put them up tomorrow because they are really full. This one has decided to flower. Never mind. But that's what I do to propagate my herbs. So it's had long enough, I'll carry on with some more. That is 2 trays of chives. Here is 1 tray of thyme, sage, rosemary, and 2 trays of parsley, curly and flat leaf. I'm going to put them in my dehydrator at about 35-40 degrees and just let them go overnight. And my battery's running down. I'll have to sort it. So the berries I have put in 2 bags. That's me red currants and white currants and mulberries, and put them in the freezer so they're actually frozen now. I've got 2 bags of rhubarb, and we didn't use those runner beans, so I blanched them and put them in this pack and vacuum sealed it, and they're in the freezer now, which is extremely handy. These bags are very, very useful. Those bags are reusable and you can vacuum seal things in them. So I don't use them for meat or anything like that. It's just for vegetables, especially things I get out of my own garden. But all those herbs, they're in there now. I haven't powdered them up because I don't powder them up. I scrunch them up on my hand when I'm using them. And where is it? This is actually what I had left of the early summer picking, so that's quite a bit of herbs, and that'll do me till next year. So it's been a few years since I bought mixed herbs because that's what I've got here. Now I'm on to dehydrate some apples. Oh yes, the herbs tend to dry at the same rate apart from the chives. The chives take a lot longer to do. You can hang your herbs up and dry them and air dry them, but I don't like to do that for several reasons. 1, they're hanging around for a while. 2, this is a humid country, so they're not going to dry too well. 3, I always think that little flies and dust and debris can get on them, so I prefer to dehydrate them and have them in jars waiting for me. If you've got somewhere to hang them around your cooker, you could do that. Thank you. Bye.
It's a perfect situation.